Hi Year 3, welcome to your lesson on features of a Greek myth. So today we're going to look at different features. The first one is that the myths have often been passed down by word of mouth. So if you think about in ancient Greece, obviously people couldn't really read or write. So they told stories to their children who then told them to their children, and the story carried on from that. So told before people could write. That's why sometimes the stories slightly change. So you might read the same story but with a slightly different version. And that's very similar to our traditional tales as well. So stories like Red Riding Hood and things like that sometimes change a little bit depending on which version you read. The next feature is good characters. In our Greek myth, there's always somebody good, our hero or our heroine, yeah? And they are the people that often face evil or have a task set by somebody who's quite mean or evil in the story. Unusually, Greek myths usually have an unhappy ending, so you'll often find that although some things have worked themselves out by the end of the story, sometimes something bad still happens at the end of the story. So suddenly one of the characters might die or be killed off at the end. There might be a tragedy, but it's usually unhappy, not a happy ending. Greek myths also, sometimes the Greeks wrote their myths so that they could explain something that they didn't know why it happened. So an example might be the seasons of the year. They didn't really understand why there were seasons, so they made up a story about something that happened with the Greek gods that would explain why the seasons happen. Sometimes they're based on real events and sometimes they've got a moral as well. Greek myths usually have a mystical or a fantastical creature. So if you look at this one here where my cursor's hovering over, this one is a half man and a half bull, so obviously not a real creature. This beautiful lady here is Medusa, and her hair is not hair, but it's a load of snakes on her head as well. And over here, we've got some magical winged sandals. So the wearer of these sandals can put them on and fly. So it's magic, strange happenings, and funny mystical creatures as well. We talked about this with the good character, but often there's a hero or a heroine. So often it's a good character, sometimes there's somebody else in there as well. That character often has to go on a quest, which is a journey. And during that journey, they will have loads of different things that they have to do and have to overcome as well. There's usually some obstacles. It's usually a little bit gory and a bit bloodthirsty as well. Greek myths often have well-known objects or symbols, and they come up repeatedly throughout the story. So there's one story that's all about a labyrinth, a maze, and that comes up all the way through the story. That's the main part of the story. Sometimes there might be like a box, a magical box or a chest. In one of the stories, there are some magical sandals as well, but there's lots of others as well. So just have a look when you're reading through your myths over the next couple of weeks. A massive feature is gods, Greek gods or goddesses or supernatural forces. And the gods often have weapons like lightning or magical shoes or swords, or something magical happens, or they might live somewhere really strange as well. So when you read through your myths this morning, you're going to be looking for some of those features. You've got a task sheet, which is about Perseus and the Gorgon's head, and you are looking for all of those features and recording them on those sheets. If you could then, if possible, upload it to Seesaw so I can have a look how you're doing and give you any help if you need it, that would be lovely. Thank you. Bye-bye.